Our lips met in the dark, not with haste, but with a tenderness that held all the emotions we hadn't yet dared to speak aloud. Before I begin, I want to say thank you for being here. If you enjoy stories like this, your support means everything. I never imagined a quiet evening could alter the course of my life. It was a Friday like so many others. I had agreed to join Aiden, my partner's son, for a movie night. This wasn't unusual. We had spent time together like that before, laughing, talking, sitting through films with snacks in hand. Ever since his father and I had begun seeing each other, Aiden had been nothing but warm and friendly. But that night felt different. Perhaps it was the film, a story neither of us seemed invested in. Or perhaps it was something more subtle. The way the air between us felt heavier, charged. That night, I allowed myself to see him in a way I hadn't before. Aiden, at 24, was full of life, athletic, vibrant, always carrying an energy that lit up a room. His smile had a way of lingering, long after the moment passed. I was 46, grounded and confident, someone who had grown into herself with age and grace. I appreciated genuine connections and meaningful conversation. But I hadn't expected to feel something stir inside me just from the way he looked at me. We chose seats in the last row, comfortably hidden from view. At first, everything was as it had always been. His soft jokes, the way he leaned in to whisper a remark. I smiled, brushing off his words with a quiet laugh. But soon I started to notice the little things. His arm brushed against mine, too often to be accidental. He sat close, though there was space between us. His presence became impossible to ignore. Then his hand inched closer to mine, not touching, just near enough that I could feel the warmth radiating from him. My breath caught. I could have moved. I could have said something lighthearted to break the moment. But I didn't. Something in me froze, not in fear, but in wonder. My heart pounded as his hand remained there, near but not touching, creating a silence louder than words. I closed my eyes. It was foolish, perhaps even unwise. But I couldn't look away from the possibility of what that moment might become. When I opened them again, he was watching me. There was a stillness in his gaze, bold, yet unspoken. The movie played on, forgotten. When the credits finally rolled, we sat motionless. The silence between us wasn't awkward. It was full of meaning. On the drive home, neither of us said much. But something had shifted. A week later, Aiden sent a message. Another movie night. This time, the film was slower, more emotional. A quiet story, filled with complex characters and unspoken desires. Just reading the title made my heart race. I knew what he was saying without saying it. And still I agreed. We returned to the same cinema. The same row. This time, the room was nearly empty. The darkness around us seemed to hum with quiet tension. From the moment the lights dimmed, I could feel his eyes on me. When his fingers brushed mine again, he didn't pull away. Instead, he gently took my hand in his. His touch was soft, deliberate. When he placed his hand at my waist, I didn't stop him. I leaned in, pulled by something deeper than curiosity. His breath was close. "I haven't stopped thinking about you," he whispered. I didn't speak. I didn't need to. My body spoke for me. I turned to him, meeting his gaze. The kiss began cautiously, slow and uncertain. But soon it grew. A connection neither of us expected, yet one we couldn't deny. His hand moved along my back, drawing me nearer. The film continued to play, but we were far from it, wrapped in something real, something intimate. When the lights flickered back on, we sat still, hearts racing. No words passed between us, but the truth was there. In the days that followed, we continued on the surface as if everything was normal. But underneath, we both knew the truth. A glance in the hallway, a brush of hands, each moment whispered what we were trying not to say. One evening, I stood in the kitchen making coffee when I heard his footsteps. "You going to bed early tonight?" he asked gently. I turned, startled by the meaning behind the question. Maybe, I replied, trying to keep my voice steady. Maybe we could watch something here. He nodded. We both knew what that meant. Later, when the house was quiet and still, we sat together in the living room. The television flickered, but our focus wasn't on the screen. He looked at me, voice low and certain. You know this isn't something casual. I nodded slowly. I had known it from the beginning. He reached out again, his hand finding mine. Just a simple touch, but it was enough. Tell me to stop, he whispered. But I didn't. And in that moment, everything changed. He leaned in, gently touching my cheek. Our lips met again, slower this time. No rush, just honesty. His kiss carried a kind of reverence, like he wanted to memorize every detail. When we finally parted, I searched his eyes. They held no hesitation, only a reflection of everything I was feeling, longing, uncertainty, and something close to love. We didn't speak much that night. We didn't need to. In the days that followed, we kept a careful distance around others. But the feeling didn't fade. In fact, it only grew stronger. Then one rainy evening, I sat curled up on the couch with a book. He entered quietly, sitting beside me. You always reread the same pages, he said softly. Sometimes I like to feel things twice, I murmured. He reached out, gently closing the book and setting it aside. I looked at him, startled. But he held my gaze. I need to know, he said. This, whatever this is, it's not just a passing moment for me. My heart raced. I had always told myself not to cross these boundaries. I was supposed to be the steady one. But I couldn't deny what I felt anymore. Aiden, I began, voice trembling. It's not simple. I know, he said. But nothing about how I feel for you has ever been simple. He leaned in, his forehead resting against mine. Tell me you don't feel it too. Tell me you haven't thought about me every day since that night. I closed my eyes. I couldn't lie. His presence lived in my every thought. His touch lingered in my skin like a memory. Instead of answering, I kissed him, soft, aching, full of every word I couldn't say. That night, we stayed close, not out of impulse, but with intention. We took our time, each kiss, each touch full of meaning. In his arms, I found something I hadn't expected, a closeness that felt like home. Later, as we lay in silence, he whispered, I don't want to lose you. I turned to him. We've already stepped into something we can't undo. I don't want to undo it, he replied. I want this you. His words comforted and frightened me all at once. I didn't know what the future held. I didn't know what we would say if questioned. But I knew this wasn't something I could pretend away. Time passed. We found hidden moments, quiet walks, lingering looks. It wasn't easy, but it was real. Eventually, his father began to notice the tension. He said little, but he was perceptive. I saw the question in his eyes, the suspicion. And with it came the weight of guilt. One evening, Aiden came to me. I can't keep pretending, he said, standing in the doorway. I can't sit across the table and act like I don't feel what I feel. I looked at him, torn between two worlds. What do you want, Aiden? You, he said. Not in secret. All of you. Tears gathered in my eyes. Not from regret, but from the fear and power of being seen. I stepped toward him, brushing my hand along his cheek. I'm scared, I whispered. So am I, he replied. But I'd rather be scared with you than be without you. And in that moment, I knew we had already chosen each other. Quietly, completely, no matter what came next.